Well, the long wait is finally almost over, my friends. At the time of this recording, we are counting down the hours until the release of Starfield, one of the most anticipated game launches of our modern era.
While game release dates can be fickle, see Starfield's previous launch date, we are seeing all the signs that point to its imminent arrival. The developers are showing actual gameplay videos, accessories based on the game have been built out and confirmed, and the ability to queue the game for download on launch day has been enabled.
This is not a drill. Please place your seatbacks and tray tables back into their upright and locked positions and prepare for landing. We finally have a date with Destiny that cannot be denied. No, not that Destiny game. Sorry, Bungie. For a little while, we're going to need you to pack up your things and prepare to be offloaded so we can make room for the installation of a game that we'll be playing instead of you for quite some time. Starfield is on its way. It's time for us to clear the decks because we are go for launch. Starfield represents more than just yet another open world experience in a sci-fi setting. I mean, we've already been there, we've done that. We have the achievements to remind us just in case we forget.
The title has captured the eyes and the attention of gamers across multiple genres because it represents the first game that Bethesda has personally developed based on an original IP in 25 years. And if this game lives up to its pre-release description of being Skyrim in space, we're all about to lose a lot of time off of our gaming calendars to this one.
I don't know about you, but in my experience with Bethesda's previous releases from their massively successful Fallout and Elder Scrolls franchises, I have spent hundreds of hours exploring these worlds. And now that my available gaming time is more limited than ever, with a little baby on the way, taking on the mission of exploring Starfield's vast galaxy of planets means I have something I need to do before I embark on this new adventure. Actually, I have several things that I need to do. Or even more accurately, I have some games I need to finish before Starfield arrives, and I run out of time to play them. Now that I know that I'm running out of time, I have some games that I was in the middle of playing that I need to wrap up with urgency. Because once I've crossed the event horizon of Starfield's gravitational pull, it is game over for those titles. Perhaps permanently.
Whether you are a fan of Starfield looking forward to a different upcoming game or simply trying to finish a game before it leaves Microsoft's Game Pass service, we all have a very similar problem in our gaming experiences. We reach a place where we are running out of time to play what we are currently having in front of us because of what is coming next to disrupt our status quo.
For me, Starfield's launch will cause me to press pause on playing the other games I was previously investing into. And if history repeats itself, those games will get pushed off my hard drive, fade into the background, and remain in a state of about 86% completion for the rest of all time. So whatever I'm going to do with these games, and they're currently incomplete stories, I will need to do quickly. And that makes my remaining wait for the release of Starfield suddenly feel like it's not long enough.
And in our real-world adventures, I have found a very similar concept reveal itself as another imminent launch is showing signs of approaching. A return that is almost 2,000 years in the making.
And it compels an identical review on what I'm doing, how much time I have left to do it, and what must be done before time runs out. Throughout my life, I've discovered a nearly endless number of books, lectures, sermons, and recordings on the subject of eschatology, the theological study of the end of days. I've either read or listened to a vast amount of interpretations of the events that are depicted in the book of Revelation, as well as the prophecies found embedded throughout the scriptures. And throughout the centuries, I've found that almost every generation seems to believe that their generation was the one. As a matter of fact, even the first generation of Christ's followers clearly viewed his second coming as an event that would happen incredibly soon. The end result of all this watching, waiting, getting our hopes up after reading our 2000th book on why Christ is returning in the year 2000, spoiler alert, he didn't, is that we can become desensitized to the reality of Christ's return simply because our arbitrary and inaccurate predictions about his launch date have come and gone. And if we aren't careful, we can lose our sense of urgency on what we need to do before time runs out on our mission.
While it would be nice to have a confirmed date of release like it seems we finally have on Starfield, Jesus made it abundantly clear that it is not happening. But within his guidance that no one would ever know the day or hour of his return, he also gave us all some very practical and critical advice to follow as we prepare for a countdown that is closer to the end than the beginning.
Throughout the centuries, believers in Christ have preoccupied ourselves with images of Armageddon, Christ's return in the clouds, and if we're living in the end times. And while Christ clearly admonished us to be watchful in regards to his return, he always refocused his followers' attention on what we should be doing while we are watching. Our fascination with eschatology and prophecy shouldn't make us so heavenly minded that we are no earthly good. Like the final countdown that gamers are experiencing as the long-awaited release of Starfield draws near, this awareness should press us into a state of action. And rather than allowing this oversaturation of eschatological teachings and the inaccuracies that many have presented to cause us to feel numb to his eventual return, we should lean into the remaining missions that we have been given with a renewed sense of urgency.
We all have less time to complete them than when we started, and whether he returns in 10 years or 10,000, Christ's message remains the same. Let him catch us completing the missions we were assigned and occupying until he comes.
As the calendar slowly ticks down on the days until Starfield's release, I know that anything I want to do in the games I'm currently playing will need to be done before it gets here, or they might not ever get done. And as I see the day approaching, many of the smaller and less critical side missions I was chasing in these incomplete games suddenly decreases in importance as I realize I need to wrap these stories up before I no longer have time to see them through to their ending. As my awareness of the limited time that I have left with each of them reaches a greater state of clarity, the actions I take while playing them are infused with a greater sense of purpose and priority, so I can at least see them through to the respective end games before placing them back on the shelf for the final time. And in the same spirit, whether Christ returns in my lifetime or my great-great-great-grandchildren's, we all know we have less time playing this game of life than when we started.
And just as we feel when we see the countdown clock ticking down to zero in our games, the actions that we choose to take as we are reaching the end often have the greatest meaning and carry the deepest resonance.
Regardless of our belief that the end of days and the return of Christ is either distant or imminent, our response remains the same: to live each day like someone's salvation depends on it. Because it does. And as we consider how we should live with the knowledge of eternity in our hearts and Christ's return on our minds, the answer is not to simply stop living and wait for the inevitable to occur. It means to start living like it matters, and all the more as we see the day approaching.